Despite coming from a small town in Poland, no diplomatic connections, and no socioeconomic advantage, I managed to have experiences of working at the EU, UN, and the OECD. And in this video, I'm going to share 7 things that helped me get into these organizations. My name is Wiola, and I created IO Ready, International Organizations Ready, to share information, knowledge, and tips about international organizations. On this channel, I help you get closer to your dreams of having an impactful career in international organizations or NGOs by sharing my own experiences and information that I have gathered throughout all of the years of my experience. Welcome, and let's get into the video. Find the right information to define your strategy. When I first started university, I had no idea what international organizations required. I thought that with graduation, it's going to be super easy by having a degree in international relations to get into these organizations. Very quickly, I found out that it is not the case, and that's because of the information that I have gathered through people, events, career fairs that I went to. I've started researching what's necessary to get a job in international organizations, and I've started gathering a checklist for myself on what to do in order to get into international organizations. I created a checklist that looked like this, and I kept track of my journey. The first checklist that I had was quite basic, but it did get me through the first phase of preparation for my career in international organizations. So information was key to me to know exactly in what direction I should be developing my skill and how I should be developing my profile so it's interesting for international organizations. There is a lot of skills that you need to get into international organizations. And at the very beginning, I didn't understand that it's not only the knowledge and specialized profile that you need to have, but also more general skills that usually you don't get through your university or through your traditional education. Skills like communication, coordination, diplomacy, event organization are skills that you can't really fake. So wherever you are right now in your journey, it's an important part to remember that these are key skills for any international organization. When I was at university, I needed to work, and I worked almost full time. And this is exactly where I developed some of the first skills that then got me my first experiences in international organizations. I was not privileged enough to be able to be a part of associations or lead university societies or to even start my own initiative while I was at university. I needed to work, but I did make those work experiences count towards my CV and my overall profile. Those first skills managed to get me to the second phase of my career development, working in international organizations. I was always working while studying, but the fact that I was allowed me to have some extra income to reinvest into my skills. And that's exactly what I did from even my teenage years. When I was in high school, I really wanted to improve my scores for my final exams, which is called Matura exam in Polish. I decided to use my pocket money to hire a teacher to help me, which as a teenager, you usually have your parents pay for that. I used my own pocket money to be able to develop my profile, and I continued doing that throughout my whole education. The moment I was accepted to my master's degree in France, I knew that I needed to start learning French, and that's also something that I have invested my own money to be able to start with some French basics before I joined the university. So if you have an opportunity for that, invest your time and money into developing your skills. Gain multicultural experience. Something that is extremely important for every single job that you will be applying in international organizations is having a multicultural experience and working in a multicultural environment. International organizations consist of people from different countries, cultures, and also working styles. So it's really important to be able to adapt and communicate in a diplomatic manner with other people. I was very lucky on this one because coming from Poland, I did my bachelor's degree in the UK. So I already had the first step into the multicultural environment, and I worked as well. So I had experiences that proved the fact that I did have that background. However, my university, SOAS, University of London, offered courses that were dual degrees. And that was one of the courses that I have done. I've studied BA in International Relations and Swahili. So my concentration was related around East Africa, around Swahili, around African literature and African linguistics. So a part of my education was a year abroad in Kenya and Tanzania. So when I got into my studies in France for my master's degree, I have already lived and studied in 5 different countries, which was a very clear proof that I was able to work in a multicultural environment and not something that I actually needed to work on while applying for my first position. That made it really easy for me to get my first position at the EU delegation to Kenya because I have already lived there and also I knew how to interact in a multicultural environment. However, I want to note something because there is a difference between having a working, living, or studying experience in a country and traveling. Traveling does not really count towards your multicultural experiences. I took part in a winter school organized by a university in Ghana, where I presented a paper related to international security. And that was something that I could actually add to my CV and to my portfolio and prove that, yet again, I have been working with people in a multicultural environment. Network. For the longest time, I did not want to network. I did not believe in networking. I thought that I wanted to be judged based on merit and the quality of my work, not how well I was able to make connections. However, it hit me at some point that everything I knew about international organizations and international relations was actually thanks to the network that I have been building over the years without even noticing that. For me, networking means building relationships. So all your friends, all of your professors, all of the opportunities that you have around you are your networking opportunities. So for example, thanks to networking, I found out about Sciences Po, which despite being the second university in the world in terms of politics and international relations, I've never heard of. And it wasn't until my friend Katarina got in and started doing her master's degree that I thought, wow, that actually could be an option for me. She was the one that read my motivation letter, tweaked it in a way, understanding how the school works and what they want in a potential student. And then when I applied, I got in the first round. And that was because of Katerina that first even told me that this university exists. Second example. I reached out to someone on LinkedIn before I tried to apply for an internship at the OECD. And I asked this person about his experience in an anti-corruption team at the OECD. While we were talking, he told me that there is a crisis and fragility team that exists within the Development Cooperation Directorate, which I had no idea about. And I also didn't know at that time that this crisis and fragility team is actually going to be my future team. I ended up working as a policy analyst there, which, if not for this guy that I met through networking on LinkedIn, I wouldn't have known that this team existed and this opportunity would not be available to me. So the way that I was thinking about networking in the past was actually wrong. And by being able to embrace the networking as building opportunities through people that you meet on your journey, whether that's information about something, whether that's opportunities related to events, whether that's accompanying someone and getting to know their friends and their network, it helps you in your career because you're not only learning about all these opportunities, but you're also developing emotional intelligence while interacting with people, which is something that is crucial for working in international organizations. Because of our 1-year anniversary of iAlready, I actually organized an iAlready networking event, anniversary networking event in Paris, and there were over 80 people that came to this event and networked with each other, got to know each other, got to know the possibilities and all of the different opportunities that they had throughout their career. And that's what I mean. You go to events where you get to talk to people, just talk to people, and you learn so much just by doing that. So make sure that you do some networking as a part of your strategy of getting into international organizations. Number 5, sell yourself well. This is a tricky one because I didn't understand the power of self presentation for a very, very, very long time. There is a very important aspect of how you talk about yourself, how you present yourself, that determines whether you have specific opportunities or not. Even though I have graduated from Sciences Po, I don't think that I had a great education from the point of view of writing my CV or writing my applications. And listen, I'm the kind of person that took every single workshop that was available at one of the best schools on political affairs. However, something that I have realized is that these CV motivation letter writing workshops are actually dedicated for people aspiring to work in the private sector, in consulting firms or in some of the big corporations. And the thing is that recruiters from international organizations are looking for something different, and no one has ever told me that. So I personally have only managed to learn how to properly present myself after hundreds of rejections from international organizations. But then when I started doing things right, I started getting a lot of interviews. I landed positions at the EU, UN, OECD. I got into the final rounds of interviews with the World Bank, with NATO. So I found a methodology that actually works for international organizations. And that's exactly why I have created my own workshop where I teach people how to write their CVs and motivation letter and recruitment portals, which I have never heard of while I was studying, so that you can accelerate your actual career and learn how to present yourself in a proper manner and show your true skills and value added to the particular international organization or an NGO. Learning how to sell myself was one of the most pivotal moments of my career, actually. And it's not only how you sell yourself to the recruiter while you're sending your CV or while you're having an interview, but it's also on a daily life, how you present your projects, how you talk about yourself, how you talk about your future, how you talk about your ambitions. So it's very important to master self-presentation in the right way. Now, this one is a really big one. If only you knew how challenging my path has been. There has been so many difficulties on my path, and I think from some of the smaller ones, which now feels smaller, like studying in my second language, English. Coming from Poland, English was not something that felt natural to me. And when I started studying at SARS, I took hours and ages to learn how to write an essay, which I have never really done before. So there has been a lot of challenges in relation to my skills, but I was also the only student that was working full time while studying. Everyone else was partying during the time that I was taking care of children or when I was working in a bakery, which was not only very hard, but also made me feel quite alone. I was also rejected probably more than 100 times from jobs that I applied for throughout the past 4 to 5 years. And all this has taught me resilience, because at the end of the day, life goes on, and a phase of life is just that, a phase in life. So the way that you think about your life is super important for how you equip yourself for the next stages of what's to come. And building that resilience has actually made my career and my life so much stronger because of the challenges and the resilience that I have developed in the past year. If you're going through something difficult right now, remember that it's your opportunity to actually learn how to be resilient, because in every difficult situation that you're going through, there is a lesson. Even if you don't feel it right now, it is a lesson that then you can utilize for succeeding in another area of your life. And the last one, determination and discipline. I'm putting these two together because I think they do go hand in hand. Despite having big dreams of what I wanted and coming from a small town in Poland and thinking of my career in United Nations and the European Union, what really made me get there was the actual determination and discipline, being able to schedule things and plan my career for where I'm right now to where I want to be, and taking step by step and be patient, understanding that all this takes time. And even from my initial checklist that you saw at the very beginning, I was very consistent in achieving each goal, some of the bigger ones, some of the smaller ones, but making sure that I tick them off so that I'm able to build the life that I've always dreamt of. I like to call myself a disciplined dreamer. I have a vision for what I want from my career and from my life, but I'm also very disciplined about getting there. I strategize and I execute the steps that I identify as crucial ones for me to get to the dream positions that I want to be in. And I understand that this takes time. A lot of us wishing to work for international organizations want to do that because we want to see an impact in the world, a big change that we can affect, right? Understanding that getting there takes time is a key point on the journey. Being disciplined and being patient with how your skills develop and what opportunities and people you meet on your path. Understanding that results of the hard work that you're putting in right now may come years down the line is a part of this journey. For me, having a vision, being determined, but also being disciplined about how I get to the vision that I have is something that has been crucial for my career. I have reimagined my life so many times. I have a friend who told me once that I'm very good at creative destruction. I've managed to really turn my life around so many times, and I've done it through being determined and disciplined and knowing exactly where I want to be at the end of this journey. If you need some help in your journey into international organizations and NGOs, whether that's through assessing your career goals or looking at the skills that you need, learning how to network, improve your job application documents, I have a career coaching program for IOs and NGOs where I take you step by step through your career goals, your skills, your networking, your job application process, and your strategy within 5 sessions. So if you're interested, do click a link down below. Now, I would love to hear about you. What is it that got you to where you are in life? I would love to read your comments, so let me know. That's it. I hope that this video was useful, and I'm going to see you in the next one.